a director, you are dealing with so many people. Yeah, it's like a parent in a family. Kuna mtoto wako anakuanga mtukutu, kuna mwingine ametulia, right? There are all those different elements. So director, you are dealing with all these people. And
from 2009 up to now, si lazima uandike. How many years? 15 years, eh? So having together and being friends for 15 years, it takes some effort, eh? Si watu wengi wanakuwaga friends forever. Hata hapa kuna watu tutamaliza after umefanya your graduation, hata hamjuani fulani alienda wapi. But it's good to maintain friendship. Haujui itakusaidia wapi hapo mbele. Sasa, so because of time, I want to just go straight to the agenda of the day. So we are going to welcome our friend and director so that he can speak to us. Hata mimi nitakuwa nimekaa pale na notebook na kalamu yangu. Thank you.
wow. Good morning. Popoa. As you've heard, my name is Kevin. When I was told to come give a talk to you guys, nikafikiria sana. I researched, I thought about PowerPoint, I refresh my computer skills, data. So maybe I would like to start with knowing who I'm talking to. Sawa. So nataka kujua ni wangapi wanataka kuwa on screen. So these are the anchors. Ama wapi boda? Wapi boda? Wewe ni on this side. Very nice. Natuko wengi, very nice. Yeah, so the reason for doing that is because I want us to understand the scope in terms of TV, production, radio, everything. There is those two categories of people. And one thing I like about TV is how it's such a teamwork. No. I'm imagining how many people go on air, like on TV, kusoma news one time or on one given time. News inakuanga na watu wangapi mostly? Give it a guess. Talk to me, guys. Haki msininyamazie, mimi ni mshai. Wow. Mkininyamazia, that's why I'm behind the scenes. So talk to me. Also at least one. Sindio? You can imagine now the entire team. How many people are behind the scenes? Like randomly? Sound, lighting, makeup, all those people. And we work together so that we can support one person on air. So that is why it is also very important. Even to I'm not discriminating. Even to the on screen, you have to be part of the team. That's how. So it is important to understand all the techniques of TV, not just going there and presenting. So we are going to talk about that, but I will start by maybe a brief intro of my journey until today. So in 2009, that's when I went to KMC, did TV production. It was a 3-year course. My first practical was at KBC. That was 2010. Shirika la baba na mama, like sisi ni wale wa unaona venye siku hizi mnaendanga kwa switch unawasha tu. Hapo ulikuwa unapima stima taa kama iko na stima. Unajua ile kitu ya kuguzisha battery unaona sparks. Hiyo ndio sasa unaenda unaguzisha, you confirm there is power and you connect to the light. So we did the internship for 3 months, which is an area which I always insist. Lazima ufanye practical. Wherever you go, lazima ufanye practical to understand. Hata watu wangu wa kwenda hewani, you have to do a practical, at least to understand. If you hear come 3, pan to the right, for example, you know that's not your instruction. That's the cameraman's instruction. So went there for 3 months, went back to school, graduated in 2012. Yeah, 2012. Actually, graduation day, that was the day that God was gracious enough. Instead of going to graduation, I went for an interview at NTV. So there I was taken in as a studio technical operator, dealing with lighting. After that interview, the next day I reported just doing the camera work. Tulikuwa tunatumia green screen back in the time. The green screen like the one in studio, it's more virtual. You cast a background later. Like you should show the green, but you cast a background. You've rocked the green screen. Have you been to studio? Maybe we go there later. And that is how we started there. Then NMG was quite an experience. That's why we started some of the shows that revolutionized the industry. From AM Live, remember Kinashira Monyega, the Balainia, Kobi Kihara, but I hope your time on answer. Yeah, so those are the shows. Akina The Trend, we changed from James March to Rani Mado. So we introduced that to by the time Westgate was happening, sasa tulikuwa tumeanza kufundi mpaka ya kuna outside broadcast. We go there, we come for 3 days giving you live updates. So those were the hands-on experiences that I would say built me up as a technical operator, learning all the aspects of light, camera, and action. So I worked there for that's 2013. We moved out from the virtual, went to the physical set in TV to Mialero. That was in 2013. As we were going out to the general election. Most TVs, they changed their sets during the elections. For 5 years, we may change that, because that is where the real competition comes in. When you have the same common news, but how you deliver it. So that's 2013. We worked until around 2015, that's about 3 years. Raw Media was opening an vernacular station in Oro TV. So 2015, just applied. I was a technical operator. I had done a bit of visual mixing and technical directing. That is cutting the shots and as well guide the crew on the different things to do on set. I was again gracious enough to land a position at Inoro TV. I would say I'm the midwife of Inoro TV. Simplipe makofi jamani. Yeah, it was the first time we are doing a purely vernacular station. Like we have to understand, to reach to the we have to understand and bring news and content to their level. And until today, I would say it's still a big brand. There's who madam anaitwa, who knows Farida Karunei? Anyone? You know her? Ni nani? Farida Karunei? Yeah? Kumsikia? Umemsikia aje? Kumsikia tu? Yeah, Farida Karunei is the former CS of Lands. Back then she was a CEO at Raw Media. So she's the one who was conducting she's Kale, but she would understand what exactly. So when they wrote that understanding and knowledge of Kikuyu is an added advantage, nikasema mimi ni nani? I didn't have so much skills in terms of directing, but I said if it's people I'm directing to in my own language, I'll go for it. So again, usidharau ukisikia tika community kana huko kwenye. Go for it. Sasa. So I went there 2015. The practical was quite something because then they wanted to see kitu najua tutatako inaitwa director's language. That is what she wanted to gauge. So nikapewa a setup. We were with Willis Rabu. Now he was this huge superstar. Umeambiwa tu you are going to direct him, do a mock news bulletin, kitu kama hiyo. So I did the interview, how you call the shots, stand by camera 3, Willis, you start from here, walk over to your guest after this story. Jeep, camera 4, you're going to follow him until he settles to the guest. Then once you settle, you're on that camera with the all that instruction. So I was able to do that, and by the time Kigeuka Madam had already gone, she just wanted to see the first 3 words that I will use in TV directing. So we are going to talk about director's language in brief. So, in 2015, RMS, at least now you know it has several TVs and different radios and different productions. So one of my major projects was kitu inaitangwa counter programming. Who knows what is counter programming? Anyone? Counter programming? Anyone? Anyone? Abuju? hata kujaribu jamani, counter programming, hakuna mtu hata amegoogle already. Who knows counter programming? Even from the sound of it, what is counter programming? Yeah? Kuna mtu anataka kuguess, wewe unataka kuguess. What is it? Gomia, usiogope. Naona kama uko na idea. Amja Google bado? Ama hakuna net? Yeah, so counter programming is where you create a program that will counter your competitor. Tumeget? Right? Counter programming, either for example, when from the word counter, what is to counter? Counter someone? Yeah? To challenge. Exactly. It's like to compete. So counter programming, where we had a show, same time, for example, it's Friday 10 p.m. How do you counter program? You come up with the same content, or almost the same content that will counter the numbers zenye ziko with your competitor. For example, we have NTV, we have KTN, we have TV47, we have Citizen. All those TVs, if you notice, they have shows that almost run parallel. Unaona hawa wakiweka soap, hawa pia wameweka soap. So one of my major projects was counter programming NTV's big show then. Ilikuwa nini? Around 2015? 2015? Yeah? Not Churchill. The one I told you, The Trend, with Rari Mado. Then it was the biggest show with a lot of entertainment. So you can imagine you are told to counter the monster that you created. So that was one of my biggest challenge. Like when we went to RMS, I was told, now can you counter this show? And that's where we birthed 10/10. We were with Willis, Joy Mudengi, and then we came up with a program that indeed was going to counter whatever was on the other side. Same time, same demographic, watu wenye tuna target, we had to target on the other side. So 10/10 was born then. So again, I'm proudly the founder of 10/10 as the director. So Willis would say, hey Kevin, I'm that guy mwenye alikuanga behind the scene for that show. So you can imagine now again countering the trend with 10/10. And I'm proud that one of the guys that I left, ndio sasa aendelee with the trend, he's a former student here. Who knows him? I'm sure you've heard about Mike the director. Clap for that guy. Naona uko rada. Yeah. How do you know Mike the director? What? What do you know about him? Yeah, talk to us.
He's very eloquent. Yes, na kona speed sana.
Okay.
Yeah. Through TikTok.
Okay. Is there something you've learned from him?
Not yet.
But definitely he's your inspiration. He's someone you aspire to be. Yeah, so I remember Mike the director, I met him via Facebook. So we would come here kwa ile pande ingine when we would come from Bamba shows. I used to direct that too. So he would be so interested, anakuja kwa ubia na uliza, and then he was like, this is exactly what I want to do. So that brings me to the point of, if you're not passionate about this, you're in the wrong place, because there's a lot of passion that has to go with TV directing and production as a whole. Sawa. So tulikuwa hapo kwa counter programming. So I left akina Mike to continue with the trend. I went on the other side. That is at Citizen. We started 10/10. Then on Sunday I was counter programming crossover with Kubamba, which changed to Bambika. Amongst several national events, I'm mostly behind the major events you see, the public events. For example, Moi's Barrio, I was behind that, from the Requiem Mass at Nyayo Stadium to his home in Bomet. Kibaki also, Obama visit, the Pope, presidential debates. I'm mostly behind the director behind those productions. Sawa. Lately, I've also now evolved into events, which again I'll come back to. after tumemaliza now the journey from RMS, which was also quite a learning experience, where you realize kuna hii kitu inaitangwa Viusasa. Do you know what Viusasa is about? What is it about? Saidia Mike.
It's an online streaming platform, like Showmax.
Yeah, it's what we call VOD, video on demand. So that is the future of TV, video on demand. Like you watch a certain video as you demand. Si kama ile TV tunasemanga saa 2 ndio Inspector Mwara inakuja. That is on demand. I want to watch funny content. You demand for it. You just go there, subscribe and watch it. So it was also a platform I've worked with. Last year, Batuan was also involved in the launch of Ramogi TV. It's low, but again, director's language. You can go to a Chinese TV, you can go to an Arabic TV, but the director's language is like the 10 Commandments. They never change, wherever you go to. Sawa. So we launched Ramogi TV. So it was an 8-year stint at Raw Media, and until now, where I'm currently working for. I moved to TV47 in September, the rebrand and everything. Mumesikia TV47 ama labda na mimi nafikiria na inajulikana. Sasa yeah, so we joined there with a team, akina Willis. Again, now my big challenge is challenging the other monster that we created. 10 over 10, we have to beat it with. Clap for this guy. Na utaenda na thao wewe. Nataka mtu ana participate sawa. Yeah, so Wabebe XP is the next baby, is the new baby that we are pushing on the other side in terms of counter programming, but I'm more of the group creative director both for radio and TV47. So that has been my journey, and along the way I also do concerts, which is the biggest concerts in Kenya right now. Festivals. Yeah? Gani? Oktoberfest. Yeah. So Oktoberfest, I'm currently the lead director for that concert. 3 stages, 3 days event. So Oktoberfest, another one. Nairobi Fest. That one I didn't do this year, but I did last year. Another one. I saw a hand. Soulfest. Yo walifunga, lakini it was also an interesting experience. Yo tulifanya na team inaitwa Live Eye. So I'm behind most of those major concerts, which also started with one of my corporate big events, which was remarkable in my life, was the Safaricom at 20. Remember that advert of Twende Tukiuke? Yeah, so I was behind the creation of that whole campaign of Twende Tukiuke. So that has been my journey, but along the way manze imeanza na technical, ujue the basics, ujue framing, ujue sound, ujue lighting. By the time you're going to direct, hizi vitu hata you don't even need to refer anywhere. Sawa. So we are going to talk and I want to learn from you. Sawa. That is basically my introduction. Unless kuna swali hadi hapo, we can go on to the next phase. But I need questions. Nipeanie hii mic in the meantime, kabla we move forward. Any question? Clarification? I want interaction. Sasa mtu aniulize kitu. Anyone? Thank you. Enda kwake.
So, good morning.
Morning.
My name is Kelvin. But the first question I would like to ask is that you've told us you've been like in around 4 TV stations, and the question I'd like to ask is, what is the most challenging part of evolving from one station to the other, and you have to also maintain the brand that you have created? Like, for example, you created the trend, and then 10 over 10, and now you are in the performing act of raising Wabebe. What is the challenging aspect in that creation?
Very nice. Yeah, so I'll answer them as they come. One of the biggest challenge
Nani hapo ashaisomea high school tofauti? Toka hii high school unaenda hii ingine. How was the feeling? Yeah? You have to move away from the gang. Sindio? You have to move away from the comfort zone. Umezoea hata ile kamera inakuanga pale, so you walk in, unajua hiyo inakuanga hapa. Then unajuanga msee akiwa sound, my sound will be okay. But one of the biggest challenge is the culture. Unaendanga mahali ingine unapata huku watu hufanya vitu in a different way. For example, moving from NMG, hapo mostly I was the vision mixer. I'm the guy with the keys cutting the shots, but there's a director calling the shots. Going to RMS, I realized I'm very good with mixers, vision mixing and stuff. So I decided, why not combine both? So mostly now I like cutting my shots, as I call the shots. It's faster that way. But now adapting from that, transitioning from umezoea kuna mtu unaambia stand by camera 2, take camera 2, to stand by camera 2. By the time I tell you stand by camera 2, just know your shot is okay, you're on air. So that transition, the culture, the people also, the system. For example, at NMG I was using a vision mixer called Atem. Then going to Citizen, we have been using Carbonate. Currently I'm using TriCaster. And 3 months down the line now we are using TriCaster Elite 2. So you see that transition of the different things. But again, the basics remain the same. Basics. Preview is the same, program is the same. Sasa. What is the other question? Are you answered? Very nice. So we can go to the next one. Let's interact. Another hand. Give him the mic.
My name is Dande, and I'm asking about or I just take clarification. I was watching in Ororo Shine, hosted by Kamau Kang'ethe and Joroge Gedeji, and I would hear them call Kevin. So I'm asking, are you that Kevin?
What would they say? What would they say?
You know, maybe being directed, you took Kevin.
Yeah, I can confirm without doubt that is me. And thank you for watching back then. Yeah. Any other question? There's one question and another one there.
So my name is Kevin.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask for, you are a TV director.
Yeah.
So directing, does it come in different forms, or is it for studio or outside? Because for what I'm used to outside directing, like for films, and they the same.
Very good question. Ndio niliwaambia, I want us to learn from each other. Directing has two forms. There's the TV drama directing, and there's the multi-camera directing. So majorly I do multi-camera directing, where you have different cameras, and then you're getting the different angles of a TV set. Mostly those ones are determined by a set. And then there's the film style of directing, where you have one camera, you have several takes. Its format is more of a one camera show. Have you had an experience in it before? Yeah, so there is those two different types. There's a multi-camera where you have different cameras. I'm sure you guys have had the basic, right? Yeah. So there's the multi-camera live production, and there's the film style. I've never seen a live film. Kuna mtu ashaiona a live film, like it's being filmed live. Yeah, so that's why there is the two different side of types of directing. So majorly I do multi-camera, both for studio, outside broadcast, and I have also had a stint in a bit of the film style in comedy production of Akina Inspector Moana, but that thing is a lot of work. Mimi napendanga tu ile nikishoot, especially if it's live, nimeshoot, imeenda hewani, I'm as good as the last show. I'm done with it. Yeah, so there's those two formats. Good questions, I'm loving it. Next question.
Okay, my name is Kate.
Yes, Kate.
I have 2 questions.
Yeah.
What makes you stand out for other candidates for this position? That is the directing and the producing. And then the other question is about how do you describe your process of fact-checking a program except before it airs out? How do you fact-check a program?
Okay. Wow. Very good questions. So do I start with the second or the first? Oh, the first one. What makes me stand out as a TV director? Number one, again, I'll go back to the basics. Understanding the technical aspect of production. That is the biggest thing that I always say. If I didn't learn the technical aspect of directing, I'm a very good cameraman. I'm a very good sound man. I'm a very good lighting person. So with those understanding, when you're giving, for example, an instruction to a camera, if you tell him to pan to the right, can you do it yourself? Right? If it's light, maybe may behave in a certain way, can you handle it yourself? If it's sound, would you advise on the sound variation? Have you been there, done it yourself? So that is what makes one a standing out director. And then the other thing, communication. Now communicate na watu. You have to understand your people. For example, let's go back to our superstars on that side. Unaona, those people can give you an attitude. Mtu ametoka nyumbani amekuja na Betty Charles juu amekosana na nani. Yeah? And then you are the one who is going to direct them for that bulletin. You have to have a third eye and a sixth sense to know who mtu hayuko poa, but we can't afford to show that on air. As the director, you hide the flaws. Huku juu kukai, unaona kama ile the dark effect. Dark hapa juu inakaanga imetulia, but huko hivyo chini inapiga flapping ingine. Now that is behind the scenes. As a director, if you're able to handle things behind the scene, labda huyu amekuja na attitude, jamaa wa sound jana walienda bash bado wamelewa, sijui jamaa wa lighting hata hajakuja at all. So how do you manage to service the situation and then you deal with it later? 1 o'clock bulletin imefika and all these people are behaving hysterically hivi. How do you handle all that? Make sure the bulletin goes on air. Hizo vitu zingine muende mkahandle kwa memo. So that makes you a standing out director, because again you can go set up the camera, you can go washe taa, uambie host weka hapo. You do the entire bulletin peke yako. You should see yourself pale hivyo kwa gari, you are jumping from sound, unapandisha hii fader, unacheza story. That is the kind of director you should be. Sasa, the production process, how you verify. Number one, before you take any production on air, of course, this is very different from online, which is now our major competition. You have to plan for our show. It has to go through the production through the production manager to verify that this is what we are up to. Unaonanga kuna stations zingine, there is an agenda they are really pushing. That one has to go through the production and editorial directors. They go through it and then they decide. For example, you see, for example, newspapers. Unaona headline in a strike. Unaona these people are, for example, fighting the government or questioning some corruption deal or something. They are normally guided by editorial policies. But before anything goes out there, even the guest. For example, if tomorrow's breakfast show, we have guest ABCD. We have to take it through the editorial director. He goes through the profile. Mnataka kutuletea nani? For example, I don't want to question anyone's faith, but if it's a Pasi and then tomorrow we are bringing in Kanyari, for example, I'm a Pastor Nganga, you have to know the kind of show you are going to expect. So that has to go through the editorial director and the production manager. Then they give their approvals. So that is one of the best way of verifying the information that we are going to give out there. Yes. Are you answered? Perfect. Next, kabla tuende hiyo ingine. There is 2 and there is 1. Sawa. In fact, I prefer more of questions. Sawa. So that to demystify ile kitu mnafikirianga ya TV behind the scenes.
So nowadays there is the visual audio radio whereby the presenters are on radio but you can still watch them live. Is there any director for the cameras being used on radio?
Very nice question. Mostly the audio video thing, they are not automated. Unapata they are just automated. Just do some robotic cameras. For example, you've watched the Spice FM. You've watched Radio 47. We are doing that a lot. We've just positioned robotic cameras that take the three, for example, the three people on set. So one camera on this one, the other one on this one, and mostly they are on split. There is a software for that. Mostly because the radio, you know, it's conversational. So you see them at the same time, at one given time. So mostly they don't have directors, but they have a controller who is making sure that there is a feed there, the audio and the video. Yeah, so mostly they don't have the director. Yeah.
Counter program.
Yeah.
Are there rules set in place to prevent a show from looking similar to another? Or can I create a show that is an exact replica of another, but I only change the name?
There are different dimensions on that. When it comes to creatives don't copy. Creatives steal. So, don't copy someone's idea. Steal the idea. Steal it, make it perfect. Both in look and feel. By look and feel, what do I mean? Hiyo show inakaa aje? Nikienda before hata nisikize. What is the first thing I look at? Nikiona hivyo, I would be interested to add up my volume. So a creative, again, you just steal the idea, go with it. But you have to be very careful. You don't want to be a copycat. Ati juu huyu msee utokea hivi, wewe pia utaleta host juu atokeange hivi. Just steal the idea, spice it up, and then you soup it up to entice your audience, or whoever you are targeting. So it's okay to steal, not to copy. Yeah. There was a question somewhere.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Lucy. If I've investigated your story, I've learned that unapenda adventure from KBC to Nation, Royal Media, and then TV47.
Yeah.
And you have created different shows. Serve the same purpose. But okay, what makes you the show yenye umeacha, the mark yenye umeset, but still inaendelea na haijarudi chini, bado inaendelea and sometimes inafanya better. Another thing, as a creative and the kind of shows you may create, nini wewe na inspire? Like most of the time, where you get your ideas, do you normally do a research, ama una watch videos, another shows that zinakufanya you get such kind of an idea? Thank you.
Very nice. Good question. Hiyo ni ngumu. Like how you create a monster and it still remains to be the monster that it is. Yeah, I think the biggest motivation is now creating something that only you can kill. You know, ile unajua hii show ni kiwai, no one else can do it better. But ile standard nitaacha, I'll make sure that it's so big, I want to step up to the next level. So that is the biggest motivation. Creating something that you know, if you create it, you can only create something even much better. Then now that is what we call growth. You know, unatoka hii show, and then when it comes to getting content, mostly when, for example, interns, I know I'll meet most of you very soon when you're coming for your internship. Mostly I gather everyone. Call them in studio. I ask them, why do you watch TV? Or why don't you watch TV? That is my biggest question. Then someone will pop up with the answers. I don't want TV because of ABCD. I watch this show because of ABCD. For example, 10 over 10 was a creation of, I would say, interns of 2017. When we gathered all of them, they were the target group. By then I was around 25, so I wasn't part of the target group. We were looking at 18 to around 24. So when we gathered them, and so now I know you can guess my age. So when we gathered them and asked them, why don't you watch? And they were telling us, oh, we want to interact with superstars on stage. We want to feel them. We want to go with the flow. We want whatever is trending, ndio mnatuletea. And that's why we could bring, for example, Anganya on set unaleta matatu hivyo. Saa hiyo it was akina Kushtresi na Christophe wakiimba hiyo dadia kama Ma3. It was the song that ilikuwa inasema, so leta Ma3 ingie hivyo, you know that thrill. It's like you're creating a music video and then you keep up with the trends. Unajua msanii fulani amekuja, how do you deliver them on to your audience? For example, for 10 over 10 we worked with international superstars from Coke Studio. When Coke Studio was working with us, we would get their artists, kina Trey Songs, kina Jason Derulo, kina Koffi Olomide, Yemi Alade. All those are artists tulikuwa tunajua anakuja. So we start the communication with their team, and then now we see how we bring them to the audience. That would set us so much apart from the other shows. So the motivation is always getting better and doing a better job and doing a better show. Yeah. So we're good. Any more question? One more question, then we do a bit of what we need to know as directors.
Hi.
Hi.
I wanted to ask, out of all the interns that come to the TV stations, how many actually land jobs there?
Normally they come in cohorts. You find there's a cohort of those interested in marketing, others in technical, others in directing. But as an intern, if you want to stand out, ni ujulikane na kitu. For example, there is one I have. That lady, she joined in around August. She was to do 3 months. But the way she directs, the way she makes me come, like nikiwa nimetulia hapo, she's running a bulletin. We had to insist, no, give her another 3 months. And along the way, in the next like 2 months, she'll get a contract because of understanding your craft. And that's why I said, if hauko passionate na hii industry, ati wewe umekuja ile wasapiri tunasemanga uende kothi. Unaona? Wewe umeenda tu kothi, ufanye tu course. My friend, you're in the wrong place. Lazima ukuwe na passion, ujue ile exactly what you want. For example, that's why I told you, if you want to be an anchor, stay on this side. If you want to be behind the scenes, stay on this side. You have to know exactly what you want. But if you say, I want to be a journalist, taka kuwa journalist, so wide to be a journalist. Sasa, because there is so many of these elements, najua mmesoma zingine, na zingine mtasoma along the way. There is so many elements in production. So again, you have to know exactly what you want. If you want to do sound, of course utajua camera na utajua how they interrelate, but be known for sound. Be known for that camera. Be known to be that guy who does directing kama amefunga macho. That is what get people sometimes jobs. But again, today we'll talk about creating your own jobs. So, for example, after this session, I would like to see the reels that you guys will create from this. From your mobile phones, from whatever footage you'll get, I want a reel of 2 minutes. And then that is where you start. Hapo ndio unaanzanga hivyo, kitu yako unaiweka tu yuko, unapata imetrend. That's how you create an opportunity for yourself. Because again, TV is a small screen. That is a golden rule. TV is a small, very small screen. Tunaweza fit hapa, si wote. How many people do you see on TV at a given time? At a given time. Hata kama ni long shot iko na crowd, you wouldn't tell so much about a long shot with a crowd. But the close up, the intimate shot ya mtu mmoja. Because TV is a small screen. Sawa sawa? So I hope you are answered. So be known for whatever you do, like be known for one thing, one good thing you can do very well. Yeah. Any more questions until hapo? This one and this one.
Okay, as a director, do you follow editing or you work in hand with the editor to get a piece?
Or to get the content, like if I have to work with the editor, yeah, definitely. You have to liaise with everyone in the department. Know your producers, know your editors, understand the kind of product. You know, the buck stops with the director. Like you are the last button to decide if this goes on air or this doesn't go on air. So there is no way you can go there broadcasting content that is both bad in terms of picture, in terms of audio, in terms of storytelling. You have to understand what exactly you're going to air. So mostly I leave the editors to work on their stories. For example, if it's 7 o'clock news, napitia pale kitu 6:30, let me see your story. Inakaaje, pictures inakaaje, how is the balancing of audio, your export specifics. For example, if we are transmitting on HD, make sure all those elements zimekuwa pale. Otherwise you can't afford to broadcast your problems huko hivyo. Ati umeweka tu ka story then ushinde ukiapologize ya viewer. That thing sucks. You have to get it right. Because TV hainanga ati, for example, if it's a live production, hauna ati oops, let me go back. No. You get it wrong, you get it wrong. Hiyo imeenda. You're as good as your last show. Sasa. So are you answered? Yeah. One last question here.
Okay. So I see you are a producer, right?
Yeah.
So which type of a producer are you? A line producer, production manager, or the basic producer in a TV studio? Because for me, what I do for producing for films and TV series, which I've been trained up to do. So I'd like to know from you, like how can someone grow into a TV studio to become a producer?
Okay. So producer mostly is the dreamer. That is the person who has the original idea. Mwenye anasemanga, oops, I have an idea. Is this show inaweza kaa hivi. And then now you are the person to do the logistics. Make sure you get the right host, you get the right content, ujue maswali zenye utauliza. So the producer is the dreamer, and then the director is the implementer of that dream. But mostly in Kenya we do producer director. Like you're producing your content and you're directing it. You're having the dream and then you're giving it a direction and you provide it to the audience. So when it comes to production, me I'm a show's producer. There are shows that I produce. For example, Wabebe, I produce. That is, I make sure I have the right set, make sure I have the right studio, I have the right artist. Nasema, for example, hii wiki ni Valentine. So what kind of a theme, audience watavaa aje, look and feel again. As the producer, it's your role. Ujue nataka watu edition hii Friday itakuwa hivi. Watu watakuwa wamevaa hivi, artists wenye wataenda na hiyo flow ni artist ABCD. So that is the producer. And then now you come to directing, you sit down, call the shots, get the right pictures, get the right audio. Yeah, so that is what I do in terms of production. Specific productions of some shows. Not all the shows, just some few shows, but zingine producer, for example, yesterday's show, naitwa Dr. Ofweneke, is a producer. She planned everything, made sure that the setup was done. Of course, then I'm there as the director to give guidance. This is where I'll get the best angles for this host. This is where the performances will be happening. So, yeah, and I produce, make sure all the logistics are in, and then I go sit there, implement the show as the director. So there are those two different roles, but you should aim to be a good producer, director. Again, with the basis of good technical operation. So let me take you through a few technical techniques. We can't learn everything today. 2 hours is very short to learn production. But I just want us to know just a few basics of directing. Number 1 will be director's language. That is something that you have to learn. Director's language is universal. That, for example, if you are taken in again, venye niko nimewambia, a Chinese station, can you direct the Chinese? Can you understand what they are saying? Even from the body language, would you learn your arts? Would you know this one is about to react? How do you communicate to a Chinese cameraman? So mostly it's universal. That we have, for example, the countdowns. When you are doing a bulletin, how do you count down? For example, anyone who has ever counted down a bulletin or something? For example, mtu anasoma, how is the countdown? How does it go? Give me from 10 seconds, how you do. For example, story imebakisha 10 seconds. Can anyone demonstrate to us? Anyone?
So my name is Jim Denzel, and I'm a photographer, I'm a camera operator, and a director and a floor manager. And this is how we do the live. Like silence in studio, we are going live in. If it is, mostly it starts from 3 to 5 seconds. We are going live in 3, 2, 1. Then you say action or roll.
Very nice. So, at least for him, if he can go to any station, anyone would know the flow, whatever he's saying. But then there are other instructions. For example, the instruction of opening mic. Do you know, for example, mtu akisoma news story bado zinaendeleanga, right? But you never get to hear the anchor. So, when you're counting down, you have to be very specific on who you're counting down. For example, if it's the anchor, maybe anasoma, akimaliza, maybe the story in a read, then you count them down. Kuna mtu akona ka script mahali? We try something. Who can read as a news item? Maselebo wangu, hamwezi niangusha. Maselebo wangu hamwezi niangusha. You ready? So I'll count you down. For example, the story imebakisha 10 seconds. What script do you have? Kuna story gani? What story do you have? Just give me the title of a story, of a news item that you have. Sorry? Kifo. Very nice. So stand by, 10 seconds to go. We are going to the next story. Kifo cha Kiptum. Coming to you under 5, 4. No, I'll count you down.
I start from the top.
Yeah, you start from the from the introduction. I'm assuming the bumper ndio inacheza. We have a montage, imerun. Now I'm coming to you to read the story. Sawa. So stand by in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Open mic, anchor on air.
Naam, kujambo mpenzi mtazamaji popote ulipo, ni matumaini yangu kwa uko mzima. Hii leo ikiwa tarehe 15 mwezi wa pili mwaka 2024 na kukaribisha rasmi kwa habari za ufahari kama Johari uketo sana ufasaha. Langu jina ni Kerike Mali Katerima na hizi ndizo habari tumezipa kipaumbele. Kifo cha Kiptum. Kifo cha Kiptum ambaye alikuwa ni mwanariadha na mshikilizi wa rekodi ya dunia kwenye mbio za marathon kimewasikitisha wengi, kila mmoja akiwa na hisia kinzani kuhusu kifo chake. Babake mzazi ameweza kusema kwamba Kiptum mwanawe alikuwa anatafutwa na vijana 4 kabla ya kifo chake. Mwanahabari wetu Joshua Moi ana mengi.
Kill Mike, roll the story na inacheza. Sawa. Clap for that guy. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Naona. So you can actually now go to a TV station, you can go there, instruct your camera guys. Hapo umesikia instructions za watu wangapi? As we were counting down, how many instructions did you hear? For the opening mic, remember the mic was off. So we open mic, anchor on air. You cue him. So now that is his cue to start talking. Sawa. Who wants to do it practically? Who wants to direct him? Who wants to direct him? Why are my directors? Walienda wapi directors? Directors tuko huku, si ndio? Directors tuko hii pande. So who would want to try give him a countdown? Sawa. So do you have another anchor? Do you have another anchor? Mwenye atapewa instruction? Who is our anchor today? Give me a different anchor. Acha nikuje hii pande ya our celebrities. Who will be the anchor? You want to try? You be instructed by him. So tell me the story. What story do you have? What story do you have to add? Give us a break.
Food scarcity. Food scarcity.
Food scarcity. So you direct after the montage. So you don't understand? Let me hear the instructions. Go for the mic. Anchor on which camera? Assuming that is camera 3, this is camera 1, this is this camera 2. So you tell out which camera to increase, then give the instruction. So if I get you understand, direct your camera. Go ahead.
Anchor stand by on camera 1. Anchor stand by on camera 1. We're rolling in 10, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 1. Open mic.
Good morning and welcome to Nibs Live. My name is Kelly Omasi. Food scarcity has become a big problem that is yet to find solutions. Chaos are being witnessed around the nation as more people die of hunger due to unpredictable droughts that continue to hit us. Meteorological stations report that more of these and maybe worse are to be experienced due to the escalating rate of global warming. The experts go ahead to claim that the only hope we have is trying as much to go green on energy production. Otherwise, our future is green. We have our leaders with us today in the studio. Let's listen to what they have for us.
Mic 1, roll.
You guys are impressive. I love that. Sasa. So that is what we were talking about, director's language. You have to understand that whoever you are directing, whoever you are instructing, you get them to understand exactly what you need and what you need. Director, you are the lead. Sawa. You are the lead. You are the team leader. You have the sound. You have the again all those elements we talked about. Everyone is looking up to you. Do you see the choir master tukiimba hivyo? Ni wangapi hapa wa choir? Unaona choir master? That is the director. Give me the tenor, give me the bass. Shukisha hii trumpet. You see how they have their own chord. Akifanya hivyo hafanyangi tu hivyo. I can't be a choir master because I don't know what is their chord. For example, utafanya hivi, maybe that means twende juu. Sawa? But maybe for us it means something different. So every chord, every profession has its own chord, and that is our director's language. So you have to understand. It's something we'll tutasoma in detail in future, and I know your lecturers will also train you on the same. Sawa. Then we come to blocking, camera blocking. For example, what determines the kind of blocking that we have for our shows? What would make you determine like hii shot itakuwa hivi? For example, maybe from our camera guys, yeah? What is determining what kind of frame they are doing? Who knows? What determines that this is a good shot, this is a bad shot?
One, there's the subject, where the subject is standing. There's the lighting of the room, and and maintaining the 180 rule, such that if you're speaking looking this way, like the camera cannot just be direct to you, it must show there's a talking room. Yes, those are the few things that determine.
Okay.
And maybe if there's a green screen, how the background will interrelate with the subject that is speaking about maybe if you're speaking about school dropout, we see a school and a gate, such things, visual elements.
Yeah, so what he's saying, there's a rule that, again, it's basic. You will always learn about it wherever you go. Hiyo msikai sahau. Mkinipata huko, and then mtaniambia that you came to our school, and then I ask you this question and then you forget, tutakosana, because it's a commandment again. Inaitangwa the rule of third. Who has heard about the rule of third? Could you define it for us, please? The rule of third? You are talking about 3-point lighting, right? I'm talking about short composition, like the basic principle of short composition. Inaitangwa the rule of third, where you divide your screen in how many parts? 3 parts, both horizontally and vertically. Which is vertical? Vertical ni hivi, x-axis, right? And horizontally. For example, this is our TV. This big screen, this whiteboard here. How would we divide it in 3 parts? The rule of third. 1, 2, so that you can have that space, the middle part, and this side. And then also horizontally, we have the That's why you hear things like headroom, right? Headroom, lower thirds. What determines that? Is the principle called the rule of thirds. So wherever you go, is that thing that you will, usikawa isahau, the rule of third. It helps you to determine what kind of shot you will have. As he was saying, the looking room. How do you decide the looking room? It occupies a third of the screen on this side. And then even if there's a looking room, kuna karoom kengine kamebaki hapo nyuma, that space. It's called the hide room, right? Then we have the headroom. Then we have, for example, center your shot when you're communicating direct to the camera, right? So that is what we talk about, where you place your logos, for example. If you look keenly at your screens, today I challenge you, go to look at your screens. Look at every space of that screen. See how it is utilized. From the logo up there, you imagine what point of the third does it occupy? Subject akiwa hapa katikati, what third do they occupied? Sign language occupy which third? The lower third. Sawa. The space you leave on the head, it's called the headroom. So that's a basic principle of short framing, the rule of third. Never forget that. If I meet any of you in future, I ask you that, tafadhali, never forget that. Sawa. So we've tackled the director's language, the basic principle of short framing. Let me go to the other point, which is director as the team leader. Sawa. So this is the point where I was saying that a director, you are dealing with so many people. Yeah? It's like a parent in a family. Kuna mtoto wako anakuanga mtukutu, kuna mwingine ametulia, right? There are all those different elements. So director, you are dealing with all these people, and they all have their different personalities. But the director, you have to be mostly the person who the bulk will stop with. Sawa. So again, you'll see an anchor ameingia amechelewa. As the director, can you stand your ground that you are late? You can't go on air. You know, some of those hard decisions you have to make, because there's no way one person may bring down the entire production. And especially my own air people, these are the people when discipline has to be, lazima iko huko hivyo juu. Sometimes ni vichwa ngumu, kwanza uselebi kiwaingia kwa kichwa. Yeah? I've worked with so many celebrities, and you can tell the different, the guys you would think they are so arrogant, you find they are so professional. For example, when you look at Jeff Koinange, you would think he's all this guy who amekuwa CNN and all that, but when it comes to professionalism, he's the guy who gets on set on time. He's the guy who won't question whatever the director says. You tell him you're going to move this way. He may have a question like contributing, but when it comes to discipline, so for my own air guys, you usikai kubali ati you are the star of the show and you forget the basic principles of production, where it's a teamwork. So the director, being the team leader, you have to understand your people. You have to know that huyu hafanyangi sound hivyo. What is wrong with them? Sawa. You create a rapport, create a bond and a relationship in all your productions. Sawa. So that is the director as the team leader. Nimeona kuna team imeingia, I don't know if we are together. Mko sawa? Sawa. So any question for so far? Any more questions as we move? Umeacha swali sasa venye tumeingia technical. Yeah? I need us to be very interactive. Sawa. So anything about the director's language hiyo tumeelewa poa? Rule of third, we are good in terms of framing. And then there was that point he was talking about the three-point lighting. I don't want to go too much into the details of the nitty-gritties that you're going to learn along the way. So I just wanted to have that overview of the basics of directing. Again, ukienda gallery, si unaonanga for TV stations, you go to a gallery and you see so many screens, but that should never scare you. There are only two important screens for a director. Who knows them? Two important screens for a director. Amazing. Clap for that guy. Yes. Preview and program. That utaingia gallery, you see screens from here all the way to there. You should never be scared of too many buttons or too many screens. Just get to that gallery, ask which is my preview monitor, which is my program monitor. And who would know which is preview, which is program? Who would define for us the two? What is their purpose? Okay. Okay. Yeah, so he's right to some extent. That preview, as we said, director, you have to be a step ahead of everyone. So program is where you are. Once you are there, it's settled, iko sawa, you have a good shot. As he was directing her, what is on preview? Montage ikicheza, where are you going to next? So as a director, you have to think about next. Where am I going to next? He already isha settle. You have an anchor, kopoa, anasoma. Think about the next move, And then the preview and program is also represented on the keyboard. So mixers, as I told you, there's TriCaster, there's Atom, there's Carbonate, all those mixers. But they have the basic principle of preview and program. Yeah, so that's just about it in terms of directing. I would prefer to have as many questions from you guys so that we demystify what you've always thought about TV. So I want a lot of questions about what you've always thought about for TV, like is this what happens? So I need, let's go to another Q&A session. So let me invite more questions from your side. Nipe swali.
My name is Moy again. I've always wondered, while I'm watching TV, how do you know that I'm watching TV at that particular time? How do you know I've changed the channel? Do you know that I've changed the channel?
That's an interesting one. Or like how you would know that 20 million people are watching a certain station, who you may change. So normally there are different ways of going about it. Number one is the feedback that you receive from audience. That is one way of determining. That's why you always see stations insist, send us your message, send us your WhatsApp, call us live. That is one way. The number of people that are calling and interacting with you, it's a way of knowing how many people, or give an estimate of how many people are watching you. Number two, there are polls that are done by TIFA, by Geopol. Kazi yao tu ni kuenda kuscout how many people. They will come to a hotel, they see, oh, people are watching on this side. If you go to Western, so many people, most people are listening to this station. If you go to this other area, they conduct those polls. They do those what do you call them? Those questionnaires. For example, they would even come here. They would ask you, what station do you watch at a specific time? People will say normally at 8 to 9 I watch this station. At this time to this time I watch this station. So that kind of survey is what determines what how many people are watching. Yeah. So they do the surveillance. Yeah. Another question? Guys, ask about TV. You people are supposed to be the most interesting people. Sasa.
So, I'm Kevin. So you told us that you worked in a drama series for Inspector Mwala.
Yeah.
So how was the experience as a director, and what can you inspire someone who is looking forward to be in that section of directing?
It was quite an interesting experience, because even things change on ground. For example, if you have a script, because there are script writers, there are script producers, the ones who have a storyline, how they want to guide it. And then you meet very interesting characters like Akina Munai. That one, you give him a script, he knows your concept, he'll do it in his own ways. Sometimes you are surprised. Najipata he was supposed to kugonga mtu kwa mgongo hivyo, then he ends up slapping a character, unashangaa that wasn't on the script. So it's quite interesting to have to do such dramas, and you have to be outgoing. Listen to art, the stories, the kind of stories people give. Those are what end up to be very good scripts. You listen to your friends, mtu akikupigia story hata kama ni ya jaba, just take the positives, take the stories, write it down, and then take a camera, go to the field, look for the best actors, and then you shoot something. You'll be surprised that most of the content creators nowadays, they're just people who dream something and they wake up and shoot tomorrow, and it becomes content. So we are encouraging professionalism even for the online guys. Like even as you're breaking the rules, but if you put the basics into it, you shoot correctly, give us the right angles, give us good pictures. That is the content that said akina Netflix, akina Showmax, they look for content, how is it well delivered. But those stories are the zenye nimekuambia, the ones that you talk with Waseivo and your people. Those are the stories that end up making very good scripts. So as the director for such, you just create, get the stories, write down the scripts, look for actors, look for camera guys here, and then uko nje, shoot some good dramas. It doesn't. The best content is si zile zimetoka Hollywood. No, nowadays the people who have their own phones, who have their crew, ile tu nashika two friends, then you shoot something. So I would really encourage guys to go for content. Content is king nowadays. Yeah. Backbenchers nitakuja huko, mniulize swali. It's only that I don't know if we will replay whatever we started with, but basically this is a TV directing class, not class, just a session for us to learn from each other. And maybe I'll repeat myself a bit by introducing myself. My name is Kevin Kamau. I'm a TV director, currently working for TV47 with 10 years experience, both in technical and directing. Started out at KBC, NTV, Real Media, Citizen, Inoro, Ramogi, and currently TV47. So we are trying to demystify zile vitu mtu ufikiria za TV ama what you guys would want to do in future. So that is basically my introduction, and I'm welcoming a lot of questions from you guys. I want us to learn from each other. So yeah. So any other question for now? She has a question.
My question is it true that when you become a news anchor or media personality, for example, an anchor, I will be limited to do things like acting because I'm the face of that channel? Is that true?
Wow, good question. Mostly the people on screen, they are brands. When you are there, what's your name again? Gloria. When you're on screen, that is just your ID. Gloria is just your ID, but you carry the image of the station. Once we put you on that screen for that 1 hour, it stops being Gloria moment. It now becomes that station's time. You are an anchor. You're just presenting what people need to hear. So you are a brand. You are the image of that station. And if, for example, if you saw, give me an example of an anchor, if Victoria. For example, if you saw Victoria Rubadiri advertising milk, okay, milk is easy. Milk is okay. Nipatie ni idea ya advert right now. Which advert is running right now? Yeah? Yeah? Lotion. Yeah, that one, at least that one goes with the. Let's use, for example, Buroti Maguta. Can you imagine Victoria Rubadiri is selling you a plot at Kamuru? Do you associate with that brand? Yeah? It doesn't go with her personality. So So that's why you see an anchor is a brand, image representing the station. So you'll be prevented from doing some activities that don't go with your brand. So it's true, it happens that you cannot compromise the brand that you represent. Yeah.
And let's say I acted before.
Yeah.
Will it interfere with what I will? Let's say I acted before. Will it interfere with my journalism career?
It depends with the kind of role that you had taken up in the other. Yeah. And is it the role that made you come out of the limelight? For example, let's say Sarah Hassan. She's a good actress. And if you look at the roles that she takes, she's very careful at the roles that she takes. That if tomorrow she goes to present news, she's a brand that you can say you can trust, because the kind of roles again. Let's take for example this online guy called Kife. Sindio? You know Kife? This Kanodia guy. Now I'm imagining if tomorrow I'm told to bring Kife to read our news. You get? So it has to do with your image, the brand that you set yourself out there, and also it's also a personal brand. So you have to also be very careful. For example, if you want to read the news, you can't be this person who is seen around the estates, around everywhere, doing some things. For example, there are some anchors who would find it very difficult to get on air right now because of the controversies that have followed. So once you go on screen there, this I think I'm addressing to team celebs on this side. You have to be very careful about the image you put out there about yourself. And once we are hiring you, we always tell you, remember, you are representing a brand. You are no longer Gloria. You are representing the brand. So even when you go out there, when you're interacting with people, you are carrying the image of the specific station that you represent. Sawa. That's a good question. Those are the kind of myths I want us to demystify and also get a clear understanding, so that once you're going into the industry, you exactly know which area you are focused on. Sawa. She has a question.
Okay, Wendy, and on the same question.
Yeah.
Okay, we have content creators like Eve Mungai and the rest who are already making it in the industry. And for example, maybe they have taken the course journalism and the likes. So if this person comes to a TV station or a radio station, will you guys give her the opportunity? Like, because she's a brand by herself, so will she maybe get the opportunity at the stations?
Yes and no. There's yes and no in that question, because again, we are looking at the brand. How are they portrayed themselves out there? If this person, I'm getting them, am I getting them because of the numbers they are going to bring me? Or is it because of the value they are going to bring me in terms of content? For example, if I was to bring in Eve Mungai, I would look at the kind of interviews she does. She conducts controversial interviews. She does celebrity interviews. So I would know where to place her. I would not bring her to news. At Eve Mungai sasa ndiye ananiambia 6 people have perished after an explosion in Embakasi. I would think maybe it's one of her stunts. Sawa. Yeah. So I would really look at where exactly am I placing her. She can do a lifestyle show. She can do a magazine show. Maybe it's a segment in the morning show. Yeah, so those are the determinants that also as a director and producer you have to consider before getting person on screen. Yes, because of the numbers. These people have numbers. Whenever you're going, for example, for an audition as an actor, they always ask for your IG handles, how many people are following you, to see the influence, the kind of influence you have on a brand. So those are the factors that mostly we consider before taking someone on air. Yeah, are you answered? Great. Tuendelea poa, there's a hand there. Leo tulisema hatuandiki sana, si ndio? Yeah, you've written and you continue writing. I still write, although my handwriting huwezi soma, ndio msiniibie script. Sawa sawa.
Habari zenyu.
Poa.
Habari zenyu tena. Nixon Irongo, and I want to ask, you have given us one basic quality of a director, and that is stand on your ground. Maybe can you add other basic qualities that a director needs? Basic, the ones that like are a must for you to like progress as a director.
Good. Probably I'll give you like four basic rules that a director must have. Number one, I said you have to be bold, right? You have to be bold, make a decision, be the decision maker, be the person who sees ahead, way ahead of everyone, and give direction to your crew. Kila mtu ni wewe anategemea, including the one on air, the owner of the company. Ni wewe, decision yako is the one that is going to determine so many things on that production. Two, communication. You have to be a very good communicator. For example, you know, the transmission, the people who run the shows, there are people who do now the programming and everything. Those are the people who divide the hours. If, for example, you are struggling, you have a technical challenge, you have an anchor is late or something has happened, you have to communicate in advance. Tell the transmission person, buy me 2 minutes, add one more advert before I get settled. So communication, so that asikuchukue, maybe you are about to do a bulletin, you are not ready, anka hajavaa hata wig, na yeye amekuja tu amekuchukua, tumeona anka na kipara yake. You see, so you have to communicate, no, plan in advance, then communicate. The other principle I talked about is your understanding of technical. To understand technical, if you want to be a good director, this one I have to insist, you have to understand the technical. You cannot guide people on things you can't do yourself. For example, if a camera is bleeding, it has some lines, it has some effect, you should advise, check on your shutter, how is the filter, you know, check your gain, ongeza iris. You have to understand all those instructions, you have to understand you can do it yourself. So that is the third one. The fourth one, you have to be level-headed. By level-headed, I mean you are guiding a team of 15. You could be having a bad day, right? You also have a bad day like anyone else. The anchor has an attitude from here to Timbuktu. Then the sound man is on this other side, amekuja kwa hivi. Yeah, everything, kuna zile siku everything is not working. But then as the director, you are level-headed. You calm down. You even call people out to take a break. So now you can do it again, but you cannot afford to expose your problems on air. That is one thing we always say. Never expose your problems on air. So those 4 basic principles, if you have them, you are good to go to being a good director. Sawa. I hope you are well guided. Hapo sawa. The lady in front of him.
Hello.
Hi.
My name is Anne Mungai, and I have a question about Kuza Awards. Many stations have been participating in Kuza Awards, mostly Royal Media Service, The Standard, and you find I have ever participated in one in voting. For example, a certain radio station in Royal Media Service, Wimwaro FM, had said that those presenters had said that you vote for one of their show, then you to that Kuza Award, then you send that to a certain number. Then I did that, and even I went to Radio Maisha and did that to a certain show. Then I found that Royal Media Service turned out to be the best in Kuza Awards, and The Standard, they were below them. So what is it in Royal Media Service? What is the uniqueness that they have in Royal Media Service that The Standard and other media houses do not have? Yeah, that's my question.
I don't know if I'm allowed to answer that now that that is my ex. But one thing that makes them stand out and kitu yenye nilirealize when I was there is how they capitalize on knowing their audience. See, understanding their audience. If, for example, you said Wimwaro, that's an Embu station. You find that in Embu, that is the station in watu husikiza. You come to Mount Kenya, for example, these areas of the lower side of Mount Kenya, you find that if it's Inoro FM, hiyo ndio husikizwa. They have capitalized on knowing their audience. By knowing them is going there, especially on the ground. They have created their content that goes directly to the audience. For example, let me come down to my baby, the one I talked about, Inoro TV. We came down to understanding what exactly do our audience need. They wanted, for example, the people in diaspora, they were really watching us. They couldn't understand how young people could speak Kikuyu so well. So we brought in very young guys. You remember Kina Mudhoni Mwamukiri, Ken Wakuraya? Those are the guys we brought in. Like, they are not how you would expect we get an old man to come and read news, because you would expect those are the ones who know how to talk the language well. We look for the young guys who will attract the audience, that even the old people, they will be like, wow, these guys are young and they are talking it so well. So understanding the demography of your audience, that is one thing that makes them stand out. Again, as I said, when we were coining the show 10 over 10, we looked at who are we targeting. We want 18 to 24. Those were the guys who are internship then. So we brought them in a room like this. We asked them, what do you want to see on TV? And they brought all those elements. We want to see live audience, we want to see celebrities, we want to interact with them, we want live music, we want events. And that is exactly what you see until today, because it comes from the audience. So understanding your audience is what makes a station stand out. The stations you've mentioned, most of them, you wouldn't say exactly what my target nani. For example, you go to NTV, you wouldn't say their target is young people or the old people in how they deliver their news or production. So understanding the demography of the audience, I think, is the biggest thing for RMS. And also it has taken time. Building a station is not building a station or building content is not a one-day thing. You work for years. It's tireless work, but you keep showing up, keep doing it. Even for the content creators, keep showing up. You shot a clip today, it received 2 views. Usikufe moyo. Go back, shoot. Tomorrow get 5 viewers. The other day get 10. Evo, that's how you build an audience. So they have been in existence for the longest time, but they keep doing it. They keep showing it. They keep reinventing their production and also understanding the audiences along the way. So that's why they keep standing out. Another one? Another question? Yes?
Okay, I'm Silas Njiru. And my question is, we've seen so many news anchors like Kanzedina shifting from Citizen TV to other corporates. Like, is it a form of getting rid of those people who have worked for a certain period of time, or it just comes as I really want to work for these people? Is it a form of that station to get rid of those people who have stayed for this particular time?
Okay. That one will be easy, because if the person you for example used as an example, you know most journalists, we are communicators, right? We're in the communication department. So for example, a lady like Kanze, it was a spotting from the upper office there. So she can communicate the way she the kind of respect she's given by even the media people. You know, watu wa media mnaweza sumbua. So they saw that this one can talk to journalists, she can answer their questions. So it was an appointment, it was an advancement of her career. It was not about being gotten rid of, because she was doing well and she could still be reading news until today. But then some things are personal. Sometimes she could feel, I need to advance, I need to take another direction in my career. And then even corporates have this communication department. So such a person would easily transition to that, because they have also experienced they are the news, they are within the news mostly, so they understand the community, they understand the companies, the corporates better, and how they can defend the company, or how they can outrun the company's mandate or organization or even government, is from a point of knowledge. So for her, it's like an advancement of her communication career. Yeah, but sometimes peer stations revamp. This is an old face, let's replace them with a younger face who appeals to the audience. So I hope you answered.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
And what I've not heard you talking about a person like Johnson Mwakazi. Is he attached to a certain station, or they just given a gig?
No. Currently, for example, Mwakazi, he's more of he freelances. He's a corporate consultant. So, for example, he saw his image, his brand, as a news anchor. He wouldn't do so many things in terms of, for example, when he's consulting for events, we meet him at events. But when he's representing raw media, whatever we said again about the brand, if he's representing that raw media, you can't be seen in other corporates. You are dealing with maybe a controversial company that does not maybe work with raw media. So he decides to step aside so that now he can continue advancing other things. But funny enough, he's still paid at raw media for his voice. He's called the Royal Voice. You still hear him in the adverts. He makes some good money from being a freelance and being the voice of the Royal Voice for raw media. Yeah. So it's a very diversified field. So I hope you answered. Yeah. So maybe before we go to the other areas, there's some areas I needed to tackle. For example, preparing a TV program rundown. How many people have created a TV program, Hapa? Have you done one yet? Anyone? Like, what is the thought process when you want to do a show? Ama you just show up in studio and shoot? Yeah? How do you go about it?
You need to create a script first. You need to create a script for the production team and the people that are in front of the camera. You need to know your guest, that is, if you have a guest, you need to know the guest. And you need also to have a third eye of what the viewer back at home wants to hear. Like, basically, as a journalist, you act as a watchdog, and before if I'm bringing like a show right now, I need to know what is trending. Like, just the way you said about the Valentines. Right now, I can't bring something that will not give me numbers as a media station. So I need to know the content and the guests that I bring in, and have the script so that you can know this is what will happen and this and this. And also, when you are doing a show, there are many adverts that go in hand with shows. So you can't just come and fix an advert of depending on the time. And also, when you're creating show, you look at the audience. Like I take an example how cartoons for kids come in Saturday and they come in the morning. Like you know the target audience, the time that they watch, and the age group.
Very well. Yeah. So yeah, you are right. And as you're saying, we are looking at how important a second. Remember the countdown we were doing? How important a second is important in TV. Every second, we're in the business of selling airtime. Your advert kakiran 30 seconds, you've raked 300,000, 500,000. So every second counts. That is why we need a rundown. So let me give it in definition. A rundown, a program rundown entails a step-by-step, minute-by-minute flow of the show. Sawa? Minute-by-minute flow of the show, such as the players, the content, the graphics, playbacks, set, music. So it is a minute by minute breakdown of a show, that every minute counts. So you can't afford to have gaps. You are doing a story, and then after that story is over, then now we have to wait. We have to wait maybe for the story to load. We can't afford to waste airtime. So that's why we need a rundown to make sure that everything is flowing. Every minute counts. So. And as we talk about the rundown is now you remember the production stages we had talked about? The pre-production, the production, and the post-production. Those are the stages of a successful production. So rundown is part of that pre-production process, which is the preparation stage. Very important. That's why you make sure your mics are working, the set is okay. At what point will this actor move from here to here? Or on which camera will they be following? On which light will be following them? What will be the sound as he moves from this side to this side? So the preparation, you have to do dry runs. You have to do a rehearsal. For example, we are opening on this shot, then we are going to, after you open on this jeep shot, you settle on the auto cue shot, then you read the news. All those things have to be prepared. That's why there is a news rundown, or a production rundown. If you don't prepare if you don't prepare, you prepare to plan to fail. If you fail to plan, yeah, you fail to plan. So if you find yourself that you haven't planned yourself, then you are planning to fail. So you have to sit down, think about the production before you even go to call out for the camera, lights, and action. So that's about the rundown. Then there's an area sijaona mkiniuliza, breaking news. Tuko hapa, something happens. How do you break it? How do you verify? What is the process? I want to hear from you sana. Tuko hapa, something. For example, let's use our reporter there. Let me give you a scenario. It's a breaking news. Sasa I will start with our on-air guys. Sawa, give him a mic. Saidia mic. So I want to give you a scenario. And then our director there, I want to give you a scenario. News as it's happening. I'm not preparing for anything. So continue reading the news. Read as any story. Then I'll give you the instruction on what has happened and how you need to communicate to him. So those things have to be coordinated. I want to hear your tone. I want to see how you deliver it. Sawa. So in 3, 2, 1, open mic, read the news.
Baraza la mawaziri lapitisha kwamba karo ya shule kuanzia shule za msingi hadi vyuo vikuu zilipewa kupitia e-Citizen. Mhubiri Paul Mackenzie.
It's breaking news. Keep going. Remember, you're still on air. You're reading the news.
Mhubiri Paul Mackenzie na wenzake waagizwa wapimo akili ili kudhibitisha uwezo wao wa kushtakiwa kwa mauaji ya ugaidi msituni Shakahola. Mwanahabari wetu Joshua Moi ana habari zaidi.
Keep going.
Kutokana na habari za tanzia kifo cha Kelvin Kiptum kimeibua hisia mseto miongoni mwa Wakenya, kila Mkenya akiwa na hisia kinzani. Babake Kelvin Kiptum ambaye aliweza kuhojiwa na shirika moja la habari hapa nchini Kenya aliweza kusema kwamba wanaume wanne waliweza kufika kwake nyumbani kabla ya Kelvin Kiptum kuthibitishwa kutokana na ajali iliyotendeka siku ya Jumapili usiku.
Breaking news, Raila has called off the emergency and the protesters are back into the road.
Naelezwa na mwelekezi wangu kwamba kuna tukio ambalo limeweza kutokea kwa sasa. Tunafuatilia habari hizo kwa kina, tutakuwa tunakuarifu.
See, you've confused him because you didn't give the instruction as much as out, and then una time. There's something called timing. Unaona timing as he's reading, know the specific words zenye utamwambia. For example, mimi nimesikia as the director, he's reading the news. Look for a time mahali utamtime, for example, when he's speaking, then give him, for example, 3 words. For example, nimekuambia mwambie aje Thank you. So, can you read the news again yenye ulikuwa unasoma, and then I will interrupt you. I want to see how you can do it on air, and then you give the information.
Na mpenzi mtazamaji popote ulipo, ni matumaini yangu kwa upo mzima. Hii leo ikiwa ni tarehe 15 mwezi wa pili, nakukaribisha rasmi kwa habari za fahari kama Johari uketo sana fasala ngojina nikiriki madi kadarima.
Raila calls for mass action.
Habari za hivi punde ni kwamba kiongozi wa upinzani Raila Odinga ameweza kusema kwamba maandamano ambayo yalikuwa yamesitishwa hapo awali yatakuwa yakiendelea kutoka siku ya Jumatatu.
Protesters to go immediately.
Naelezwa kwamba waandamanaji wanaendelea na maandamano hayo mjini.
Exactly. So what I was trying to demonstrate. Very nice. Very nice. As an on-air talent, you have to split your brain. You have to listen and talk. He's reading another story. So you have to see, how do you leave your audience from Kiptum's story? You lead them to the breaking news. Behind the scene, as the director, give the instruction clearly, specific to the point. Sawa sawa. For example, anasoma mambo ya Kiptum, you wait for him, mahali ana pause hivyo. You say, Raila, mass action, immediately. Unaona? You've given him the instruction, na tunaarifiwa kwamba kiongozi wa upinzani, by the time he's saying kiongozi wa upinzani, of course we know who it is. It is Raila Odinga. By the time he's saying Odinga called for mass action, Raila Odinga ameitisha maandamano. You get? So you are giving him the instruction. So I was imagining, I was as the managing editor, I'm telling my director, is this breaking news, you need to break it now. So how do we interrupt? As the reporter, you don't leave the viewer hanging. Kiptum na naarifiwa kwamba no, you have to pause. Na hiyo taarifa ni ambayo tunaendelea, labda we are continuing to get more details and we shall give you in our subsequent, but lakini kwa sasa naarifiwa you can even pause for 2 seconds. Naarifiwa Raila calls for mass protest. Naarifiwa kwamba Raila kiongozi wa upinzani, as you know, as you nikikupea hiyo instruction, as you are buying time so that you get more information. Kiongozi wa upinzani Raila Odinga ambaye amekuwa katika upinzani, you know, now you get your background information so that ndio by the time nikikwambia what exactly has he done, you've already given us a preamble, umetupatia a good landing point. Then now, as you wait for more instruction to come from to you, so that's how you do the breaking news. They are the most unexpected and the most testing times for a director and for the on-air talent. For example, I remember the breaking news that sijai sahau. It was the Westgate event, the terror attack. So hiyo time nimeingia pale, it was around 1 p.m. We were doing the 1 o'clock news. Then venye tu anasoma, then Emmanuel Juma then was the managing editor. He comes into the gallery, very shocked. Guys, I hear there's a robbery at Westlands. Can we break the news? So we were wondering, is it a bank robbery? Because gunshots can be heard. We couldn't take it on air. We needed clarification. You don't want to alarm people. So we asked him, what exactly is happening? I don't know if there are gunshots or it's a robbery or what. We told him, can you verify? Tell us clear information, what exactly is happening at Westgate. And by the time we were deciding what exactly is happening, we had already deployed. We deploy a team, iendange fact find, even if it's a phone call, we get a link up from there. So that moment, we saw a breaking news on, was it Citizen? They broke the news. Gunshots heard at Westgate, but you can't just shout to people.